here's my schedule. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. I've got you for 3 days for rough in and 2 days for a boiler hang and, and then another 2 days, like 3 weeks later to do trim out. Does that fit? Is that right? And you're like, oh yeah, take my money. Yeah, I'll do it for free. Well, let's do this.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Make Trades Great Again podcast. I was thinking the other day, why do I say that every single time? I mean, if people are on the podcast, like, don't they know where they're at?
Should be.
Yeah.
Maybe they know what they're doing.
Maybe they're new, I guess. Maybe
That
that's
could
why
be.
we do it, for the new people.
New
If you're
guy.
new here, you're hearing from two of the most luxurious plumbing and heating contractors there everywhere. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. We're off the rails. You know why? Because we're recording at night. Normally we record in the morning.
Yep. A little punchy.
I like to mix it up a little bit too for the regular listeners who know they think they know what to expect.
Right. Well, and it's a Monday night, so let's like,
It is.
How was your Monday, by the way?
My Monday was interesting. It kind of started a little slow, like everybody's a little crabby, and I was like, whoa. On my weekly meetings and all this stuff we got going on I was like, wait a minute. Nope, not today. You guys aren't going to be crabby because I'm doing good. Had a good weekend.
Nice.
And I was like, I kind of pushed back a little. I didn't stop and say that, but I'm like, okay. It feels like people are crabby today, and I don't want to be crabby, so I'm going to change the mood. Yeah. I wanted to change the mood, and I did. I think I did. I don't know. At least they placated me enough to
That's good.
So, yeah, just some routine stuff. Nothing crazy going on around here. I'm leaving town, so by the time this airs, I will have been to Austin, Texas, did a pretty big, what I think is a lot of stuff I have to do when I'm down there for Build Show Live.
Yeah.
I got to give presentations, and I got to do booth visits, and I got to do a lot of like shaking babies, kissing ladies kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm getting a little anxious about it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But this will have aired, and we'll have gone through that. And if I'm alive for our next recording, then, so be it. The life, as the world turns, life goes on, whatever the saying is.
Right. Yep.
And you got a big day coming up. I mentioned it last time while we were recording, but you got a birthday and all that.
B-Day. Yep.
It's you don't do like the birthday month thing, do you?
I'd like to.
Do you?
No.
I'd like to. He says. Well, I mean, now that you mention it, can we make this happen?
Is that in the budget?
Yeah, let me check the MTGA purse. Petty cash.
Yeah. Got another trip around the sun about ready to end. My wife, Cheryl and I, and a couple of high school buddies are headed to Napa Valley again.
That's right. I forgot you're going to go down there. No, this is a second run down there, like you went about a year ago, right?
Yeah, so from Missoula, you can jump one simple flight.
Which is not normal from Missoula,
right.
Unless you're going to Salt Lake.
Yep. It's literally like a Friday afternoon, right? Friday afternoon, you fly from here to Seattle to San Francisco. We land in San Francisco at like an hour and 45 minutes after we took off here. It's like,
wow.
Granted, there's an hour time change in there, but we land there, got enough time to grab a rental car and drive the 45 minutes or an hour north of San Francisco and get into the Napa Valley and get our wine on, I guess.
If you go it sounds fun and it's going to be fun. I know you had a blast last time you went. However, you said San Francisco a couple times.
Yeah.
Do you remember the commercials when we were growing up? Come on.
The rice-a-roni?
Yes. I wanted you to say it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, I'm not the dumb one, right?
It's gotta be right. I mean, like,
Rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. I loved jingles.
Yeah.
This is a fun episode already. I love jingles from when we were growing up. And we just don't hear them like a lot of radio ads and a lot of TV commercial stuff. Every company had a jingle.
Everything. Yeah.
Like the car dealers were the best. The local car dealers, like
tow truck
1040 Ford. You know?
Right. Did you have local towing companies?
Well,
that were like, I mean, anybody that had radio ads, we used to have this Iron Horse Towing. Iron Horse, something like Iron Horse Towing, we're number one or something like that. And I remember going somewhere, and I was probably in my mid 20s or 30s, probably one of the kids' friends.
Yeah.
And the kid would not quit saying this Iron Horse Towing jingle.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And like singing it along like everywhere we're at, I'm like, what the heck? And then I come to find out that his dad was one of the tow truck drivers.
So he's just enamored by it because he thinks like his dad's a superhero or something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know. Right, they stick with you too. I got a buddy, Josh. He's like, he listens he pops in on the podcast once in a while. He listens, and he's like the library, like the historian for the radio jingles from when we were growing up. Yeah. We're the same age, and he just has a knack for remembering them.
Yeah.
And he can belt one out every once in a while, and you just can't help but laugh. Like, that is so awesome. It just brings back memories. I love that.
Yeah.
We need more jingles.
Yep. Definitely. Well, I mean, you think about it, that's the best Super Bowl commercials, right?
Yeah.
The absolute best commercials ever are those ones that have that stupid jingly, you're like,
sticks in your head. Oh, yeah. What was the Timu one? Timu, whatever. There was one this last year where it kind of, everybody started singing that for a day or two. That was a good one. I had something we were going to talk about, and then I kind of forgot. And now I'm trying to think of what it was, and I was going to surprise you with it. So you can't even help me.
Nope.
I just don't know what we were talking about before we hit record.
We were talking about contractors and anxiety of that kind of thing, which it wasn't as nearly as much fun conversation as.
No, but it's relevant to the topic of our podcast, kind of where we sit. Yeah. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So a little while back, I sold a radiant job for new construction. It's a barn dominium, we're going to call it. Okay. Are we calling them that, or just people who think they're fun on Instagram call them that? I don't know.
I hadn't heard it until you had mentioned it. And did you make that up?
I did not make it up. That's why I question whether I should say it out loud or not. Yeah. Like, it's kind of annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I understand it's like a pole barn structure with a living space above a large garage, right?
Or like next to it. Yeah. Like it's like we made this house, quote unquote house out of a post frame building,
Got it.
Barn dominium.
That's where the barn part comes in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause we call them pole barns, or, if you want to be fancy, you call them post frame.
Sure.
Cause you're framing them with posts, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I signed up, friend of mine convinces me to, here's where the story goes. It gets juicy for a second, or not too juicy, but it gets there. It's a slow burn. My friend of mine contacts me and he says, Eric, I got a job. I need you to bid. You pretty much got it, but they want in-floor heat, and I'm not going to let them even call anybody else. And I'm like, wow, I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I give them an honest price, and they're like, we got to move on it now. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I can give you a price today.
Yeah.
And they accepted the bid, everything, hit the accept button on the proposal on the HCP. You know the deal.
Mm-hmm.
My terms and conditions, 50% down and in this case, I'm going to do, I'm going to do half the rough, and then they're going to pay me as soon as I'm done. Come back to the boiler later.
Yeah.
That was like 2 months ago. And since then, the buddy of mine who first contacted me, who was like, he was putting up the pole barn.
Yeah.
But then got talked into sort of like souping the job, because here's where this all comes down. Owner of the property is a gal, I think she's around my age, between like 40 and 50.
Okay.
Her mother recently retired, moved in with her at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not an especially new house or anything like that. Rural, septic, natural gas on site, few acres so they can build this post frame building with all within reason. It's all permitted job. Everything's good. And this gal, the daughter, is kind of spearheading this project, but realizing pretty quickly like she didn't know what she's doing.
Right.
They're trying to build this post frame building with 2 bedrooms, kitchen, and a bathroom.
Okay.
And garage.
Simple.
It's all just slab on grade. No mezzanine, no second level. It's all just like half and half the building, right?
Sure.
They insist they have to have in-floor heat, which I'm not going to talk them out of. Yeah. But that's a big chunk of budget when you're talking this type of construction, right? Percentage-wise. Yep. Because the building themselves aren't, like, per square foot, they're really inexpensive. And that's why people go with this type of construction for something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Since this 2 months ago, and I got to hurry, you got to get, we're going to need you in here to put the tubing down before you know it. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But I did turn around. They accepted it, got my deposit. I order materials. I'm sitting on them in the shop, and I'm like, what's going on with this job, John? That's the guy's name, my buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're having trouble with the city, and we put, they changed some things, so then they made them resubmit permits and all this kind of BS. Since then, I get a call from the owner, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to take over. And I'm like, okay, that's odd. I think, like, especially considering she admitted before to me, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to have John do it. And I'm like, okay. Well, somehow there's a falling out. They get the structures up, it's still just dirt.
Dirt floor.
It's not prepped or anything, but it's, the exterior's done. And they said, well, are you going to come out and do the plumbing? And I'm like, you never asked me to do plumbing. What are you talking about?
Right.
I was asked to put the in-floor heat in, and that's what I gave you a price for.
Yeah.
And like, I hope there's no confusion, because none of that included plumbing.
Right.
Right. It's very clear what I'm going to do in the scope of work.
Yeah. You can double my first number, and then we'll talk plumbing.
And so a little backstory for anybody listening and doesn't know me as well as Andy does. I would prefer not to do the plumbing. I'm not going to lie to you. I would prefer to do 100 plumbing service calls for weeks on end than spend a day or two digging a ground run in, waiting for concrete, coming back, doing the upper roughing, coming, water. I don't want to do that work. Yep. I'm sorry. It's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I'm so much more better equipped to take on smaller service and repair work than I am that work. And trust me, I have the experience. I've done,
figured out.
Yes. I just don't want to do that kind of work because it ties up too much time. It's not as profitable. I don't have the energy to put up with the problems that come along with construction and you name it. I can come up with a ton of reasons that are important to me that I don't have to try to convince anybody else. Anyway, and I was like, well, okay, I don't have a problem that he's not running the job, but in my head, I'm like, I got a problem. And here's why. I've been down this road so many times. I'm predicting now. So let's mark it on the calendar. 9 p.m. on Monday, 11/4/24. Right. That I haven't put tubing down on this floor yet, and I bet you I don't hang a boiler and start the system up for, I bet you it's June of 2020. I have no idea why. Right. I'm convinced that this is going to take months and months and months when it's a project that could take just a couple, right?
Yeah, yeah. What did she give you any indication of what's holding up right now?
No, but I did. No. Your first thought goes to like, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that happened. I don't even need an explanation. I don't want one.
Yep.
I just, I got this job. I don't want to know if there's any problems unless there's a problem with me. And so I don't ask. And then I think my second thought is is it a money thing? So I say, like, everything is on track. Like, you're good. All the numbers are coming in. Those are the kinds of questions I will say that.
Yeah.
Because I got a deposit for half my job. Does that mean I'm going to get the rest of the job, or I'm going to put the tubing in, then they're going to come out from underneath me and have somebody else put the boy, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want that. And so I kind of hinted, kind of poked around there, and it sounded like, what are they going to say? No, we're broke as a joke, but we're going to see what we can get by with. They didn't tell me that, but it didn't sound like anything was going on. So I bring all of this up because I feel like, am I batting at that hornet's nest that I have vowed to walk away from in the past, like taking on these jobs that aren't run by professionals?
Mm-hmm.
They just take so freaking long.
So there's like a level of anxiety that I get with it.
Totally agree.
And just an additional level of stress that seems to come with those kinds of jobs. I mean, you and I have both been doing this long enough that the kind of job that you're kind of excited about, where their builders like, here's my schedule. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. I've got you for 3 days for rough in and 2 days for a boiler hang, and and then another 2 days, like 3 weeks later, to do trim out. Does that fit? Is that right? And you're like, yeah, take my money. Yeah, I'll do it for free. Well, let's do this. And then you get the job that they're like, yeah, we'll get you a schedule. And then the job's done. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that went pretty well. And you're like, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't go well at all. It was terrible.
It sucked. I hated it. I hated every second of that job, and I've got 3 of them right now.
I feel like when
are done. Thank the,
that's
whatever.
Good. That's good.
And we're done with our work. And I know for a fact that one of them is probably still a solid month from being trimmed out. And we went out and
it should have been, or what?
I think it should have been.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the holdup is. I mean, the painter was like, I don't know, one of my guys, I think Rob was out there, and he's like, I asked him who else was there, and he's like, the painter's here. And I'm like, well, will you ask the painter when he's going to paint the walls? And he's like, yeah. So the guy's like, whatever, we're going to do that next Tuesday or whatever. And so I was like, sweet. Thursday afternoon, we're putting thermostats on and we're done. Like, that was the last thing.
Oh, sure.
I'm like, you go out there Thursday. I told Cheryl, I'm like, schedule them for Thursday afternoon for like 3 hours to go do startup, fire the system up, put thermostats on the wall, and we're out. I'm done.
Like to check and be done. You're done with the job then?
Done with the job. Yeah. We're not doing any trim out. We're not hooking up any appliances. We ran gas line to a dryer and a range and got the
you didn't do plumbing
stubbed out. We did not do plumbing.
Yep.
And, I was like, whatever. And so Rob's like, well, do you want me to fire the water heater? I'm like, nope, just leave DHW disabled and just in the scheduling, and we'll figure that out. When they're ready for hot water, we can go out and turn the hot water on. But
yeah,
the plumber was in the same boat. He's like, I don't know when they're going to do trim, so I don't want to put my stops on until they're done with trim.
Oh, sure.
Because
just in case something misses or whatever.
Yeah, he's going to stub it out or stop it out, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, we put in 10-inch base trim."
Yeah, no, all your toilets are off by 3 inches now.
Yeah, so
yeah. Well, so that anxiety, here's where a little bit builds when I look at this, the prospect, or look back on jobs where I've done with homeowners that were run by homeowners but not pros kind of deal. It's not like look, they just don't have the experience to keep things moving. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
I mean, let's say let's pretend they have the right amount of money and everything's fine there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the experience to keep ahead of, 2 steps ahead, because like you were just saying, like they don't have the whole calendar planned out properly,
right?
Or at all. Or sometimes they're asking you, like, when do you need to come? Because they don't know. Right. You know what I mean? Like, who comes before you and after you, and where do you fit it? And like,
right.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like, the anxiety is, for me, oftentimes is, although I'm a personable person, I'm gregarious, I will talk with you, I'll teach you anything, I'll answer any question you got, but I don't want to hold your hand. and like tell you how to build this barn dominium. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No, and I think that's where, I mean, a good contractor is able to have a pre-con meeting.
Yeah.
Right. And be like, hey, let's get everybody on the same page. Not everybody it doesn't have to be like, hey, we're building an airport. I mean, it's
well, exactly
right. I mean, you can have this conversation over the phone or via email. Right.
Well, it's residential construction. We're not reinventing the wheel here. No. Like this, it's pretty, some of these builders are amazing at it. Right. Yeah. Some of them are not. Right. I've seen some really awesome administrative work in some really crappy homes that came from it.
Right.
So like that doesn't guarantee quality product in the end either. Just meant that it was put together in the right order.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm stressing out about it a little bit. I bring it up just because I bring it up, I think, today in this episode, because I think that, first of all, this is not the first time I've encountered it. You've been through it. Mm-hmm. Other people, this is just like what we talk about, right? Kind of just what other people are likely to encounter on their own or have been through it. We're not.
Well, I am pretty special, and I think that I live, anyway, I think that's the thing that, I don't know, that makes this interesting to me, is that it's like everybody's probably gone through it.
Yeah, but I think, I know when I'm listening to a podcast like this, or, other guys, we listen to a lot of podcasts, and some of them are from other guys in our industry. And I feel like you hear them talk about something, you go, what my reaction is like, oh, I just dealt with that. Or, oh, I've been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, while I'm at it, listen, if you're listening to this and you're like, I've been there, I've done it, or you're like, you just got to tell them, hit me up in the DMs. Tell me.
Share me the secrets there, bro.
Yeah. Share your secrets with me. Or just talk with, just send a message. Let me know you heard it. And
I enjoy a good new construction project. I really do. I truly do.
If they're well run.
But they have to be with the right person. And right at the moment, I have one just rock solid contractor that I absolutely, every time he calls, he's like, hey, we got a project. And I'm like, I'm in. Like, tell me what it is. I just know that whatever it is that Dave brings to the table is going to be a decent project. It's going to be funded. The customer's going to be okay with spending some money because Dave's already prepped them that, hey, I'm going to bring in the good guys.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to work well together. Everybody's going to do really good, solid quality work. And it's going to get done when it gets done. And the nice thing about that is that he's able to do that. Just that thing. Like, I called the drywaller to come in, which means that they're going to tape and texture, and then they're going to paint, and then we're going to need the plumber. And the electrician. So he'll call and be like, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. And he'll say something along the lines of, he'll send a group text to me and the electrician. Hey, who wants to be first? I think the painter's going to be done on this date. We're going to be in there trimming out.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys both need to be here at about the same time. Who wants to go first? What fits whose schedule? And then we can look at it, and I can be like, I actually am wide open that week. That works great for me. And then if the electrician's like, oh, that's sweet, I'm good the next week. Done.
That's cool. I look back at the years and years ago when I started out on my own, and I had just come from working for a pretty big housing contractor. I'd worked commercial, industrial stuff before that. But I actually remember working for this one builder who eventually went out of business, unfortunately, in the crash.
Yeah.
2008, 9, 10, somewhere around there. But this guy was so organized, and organized on a level of like, I might have talked about this in the past, but like he'd be like writing the swing of the doors on the subfloor with marker and be like, this is the way this door's going. Don't put the heat register there, or don't put the thermostat there. You know what I mean? Like, although sure, it was on a blueprint, but it just made things, it was organized to a level, it just made things easier.
Yeah.
At first, your first thought is like, oh my gosh, what am I getting into? But then you realize how nice it is to work for a builder that is on top of things, so much so that they're going to tell you stuff that is like you think is basic, but it's super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not the big boy box of crayons for no reason.
Exactly. But what comes from that is just, it takes a little stress out of it. It makes things a little bit more obvious. And it makes you want to do a better job. That's my big takeaway from working for people like that.
Yep.
Is they're trying to set you up for success in a way that you want to reciprocate. Although I always want to do a good job, and so do you and everybody listening. Everybody wants to do a good job. I get that.
Yep.
But it's a mental thing now because I'm capable of doing a good job.
Right.
I have the skills and I have the tools and the experience. But it's when you get set up for success, like people are like, I'm going to try to make your job easier.
Yeah.
I'm going to overwhelm you with information that you're not going to have to ask me for. Right. And then, so these things turn into doing a better job. Like you are motivated to do a better job now. That's my takeaway on it. So maybe I'm not motivated to do this homeowner job because I feel like I'm going to be like holding hands and making decisions.
Well, I hope it's not that way.
No, it's just I know.
But you're gonna think the worst to start with, right? Like
I got to get.
Oh my god, this is gonna suck. Yeah. When you could also go, I'm gonna be optimistic, and this is gonna be awesome. You know what? She's cool. You know, whatever. Hopefully, this will be fun for her, and she'll learn something. And
yeah. Well, I love it. My favorite job out of all the things that we do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know why it is. I just love putting the tubing down for a radiant heat job. It's like my favorite busy work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fun.
It is cool. I'm looking forward to it. But mark my words, it'll be like June. I'm hanging that boiler. No, I'm just kidding. You never know. We had snow.
Yeah.
And now it's back to being kind of, gloomy fall-like weather. All the leaves are gone.
Yep. I was working on a yurt today.
What?
Yeah.
What are you doing in a yurt?
It's an art studio up on the side of the mountain.
Of
Miles
course
put a Fujitsu 3-ton low heat unit in there with a couple of floor mount heaters for this little art studio out in the woods. And fan quit, not a fault code. So I drove up there. It was kind of nice because I was able to drive to the yurt this time.
Yeah.
No snow. The last 2 times we've been up there, I took a sled.
No kidding.
And put my tools in a sled and drove it.
Like a snow sled or a snowmobile?
Yeah, it's like 400 yards through the trees down the hill. I mean, you just kind of get out there and you're like, I'm like, this is going to suck. And I was leaving the shop and I looked over and my ice fishing sled was sitting there leaned up against the shop. And I'm like,
got to take that, I guess.
Got the big boy, whatever.
The otter sled.
Big deep otter sled. And I'm like, nope, that's going in the van. Chucked it in the back of the van and got up there and I was just like, nope, screw it. Nitrogen, recovery machine, cylinders, just start loading this thing up.
Oh,
drug it all down there through the snow and I think we ended up having a leak on a flare joint or something stupid. But anyway, this time it's got a bad fan. So got a hold of Fujitsu and we troubleshot the fan and, that bad fan motor. Oh, and by the way, you need to replace these 3 control boards and you should probably check these 2 expansion valve coils. And
oh my gosh,
so now I got like probably $1,500 worth of parts on order for a bad fan.
For the yurt.
For a yurt. And I think
if you can afford a yurt on the side of the mountain.
Under warranty though, so.
Well, I was going to say, though, if you can afford a yurt on the side of the mountain, you could probably, you might be, with a heat pump system, you might be, either you're just, funded or you're selling a lot of art.
They're good people. I don't know how much, I don't know if she sells that much art. They are longtime art dealers. They used to have an art gallery here in town and good people. I've worked for them for probably my entire career, actually. This is probably one of my older customers that I've worked for probably pushing on 23 years or something like that.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Well,
this is a sign off on a Monday night recording.
Right.
I don't know why I keep bringing up the day that we're doing this, really, because it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
If somebody's listening, they're like, who cares what day it is? This is Friday for me, you know?
Hey, if you need some new pliers.
Oh, look at those things. See, this is the benefit of the YouTube recording of our podcast is you get to see Andy's new tools that he just bought.
Yep. Some new comfort grip.
I like the comfort grips. Nippix. I do. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't need them, but I like them.
Yep. They're nice and oily. I like the black nitrided finish on them too. I prefer it, but I don't know why. Fine. It doesn't rust. I always was like, oh, they're going to rust. They don't rust.
Oh, it can. It can. No, it can. If you do have to give them a little love once in a while.
And then I got the fresh set of Weehaw Micro Precisions.
Best screwdrivers on the market right there.
Hey, can I give you a little word of advice if you're going to go out and buy these? Don't pry with them.
Oh, yeah. Don't. Oh, also don't punch holes in the wall for your drywall anchors that they gave you and you needed.
Oh,
because I've done that. Bend it a little wonky.
A little wonky. But if you pry on it, it just breaks the end off.
Yeah. Well, because they're not for prying.
No, really.
Yeah, they're for very small terminal, terminations, like for very small screws.
Precision work.
Yeah, it says right in the name, I believe.
Yeah, I think it does.
All right, you good?
I'm good. That's
just a reminder to everybody.
Didn't unwrap it, so it's just a mess.
I want to remind everybody. Hit us up over in the DMs on Instagram.
Yep.
Send us a text message right here in your podcast app. If you're listening to us, you'll see the little link right there in the show description. Yeah, we want to hear from you. Good, bad, ugly. Oh, you know what we haven't gotten for a while? You know what I noticed? We got some slackers out there in the listener land. We need some reviews on the podcast over on Apple. Yeah, please.
Got to knock the cobwebs out of the review section, huh?
Yeah, we do, because I think the last one was like a year ago.
I guess I don't know how. I don't know if I'm gonna have to look into it. I don't know that I can look at it.
Oh, you can't. No, you can look. You just have to look at our, just our podcast on Apple Podcast. Yeah,
that's true. I guess I can look at that.
Don't leave another 5-star review, Andy.
Sorry.
Like they'll be on to us if it's just you and I leaving reviews.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it slowed down after we got that 1 star about Chad. Remember? Yeah.
Chad.
No, we need some reviews on there, baby. It helps people. I don't know why I just said baby. Hey, baby. Listen here, sweetums.
Sugar pops.
Yeah. Listen here, babes. We need some reviews on Apple Podcasts. Helps people find us, and we're pandering for likes here, and I'm not ashamed.
We are pandering.
All right, dude. All right. I'm gonna hit stop.
Do it.
We were doing so good, and then we went another 4 or 5 minutes,
and it's all been downhill.
It has. Thanks to me.
Yeah. Well,
see ya.
See ya.